Hello there, good people. Patricia here. So the other day, I was watching some, videos or whatever, and I saw a creator, a mother woman, who was talking about closing the loop and this concept of it was related to dealing with family and how people don't finish what they start or just around the house, right? We'll talk about that. I'm sure I'm not doing this any justice, but hang with me here. But she was talking about this closing the loop concept where previously, let's say someone would come and leave their dirty cups or leave their clothes hanging out somewhere, she would just automatically go and clean up behind them, which of course means they're not learning the lesson of clean up and take care of things yourself because mom is going to do it, wifey's going to do it. So she instituted this close the loop thing so that would lower resentment and angst from her end, but be clear to them you didn't finish something you started. And so apparently she has these little um, circles with an X through it or something like that. And she posts them on the thing. So like on the coffee cup that got left on the or the dish that got left on the sink, she just put it there and just things. And at first I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna have words. Like in my house, I'm gonna have words. I don't know that because some people are a little clueless. I don't know that they're gonna take that sign. But then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, now let me sit with this another moment. Because in the context of our own personal goals and dreams, what does it mean to close the loop for ourselves and not for other people? Oh, now I'm like, okay, wait, she might be onto something here. And so that's what we want to talk about. That's what we're going to talk about today. Before we get started, if you have been following along, thank you so much. Ask you to continue to hit the thumbs and like up, the thumbs up and like button, and subscribe to the channel because it helps push things out and helps bring in more people who would enjoy these conversations. And of course, I would love, love, love if you would share it with others. Okay, now let's get back to this closing the loop thing because like I said, at first I was like, I don't know about this. And then I started thinking a little bit more in a different frame of, and I'm like, oh no, no, this works, right? Because how often do we set out on goals and dreams for ourselves that don't get met, that don't get finished? Not because some external thing intervened, right? That happens. But literally, like we don't finish it because we stop working on it. Uh, I won't say we stop caring because that's not normally a lack of care, but what happens is we get distracted by and pulled on by all the other crap around us. And we get pulled into doing work that helps other people finish closing their loop, but yours still stays open. Stop. I'm telling you, when I started thinking about it in those, I'm like, oh my God, like, yes, that has been a huge part of my life. And recognizing when I have like stopped closing the loop on for other people, let them close their own loops, or don't ask me to come close that loop for you. Woo! It is very, very powerful. But let's talk about what that looks like because you have your own goals, you have your own dreams, you have your own projects, all of these different things. I have them. I have some that have existed for quite some time. Oh, no judgment, grace, grace. And I know I still care about them because I I put them back on the list month after month, year after year, and not quite either starting it or finishing it. Depends on where I am in the process, right? Some writing projects. I'll use that as one of my examples. I have several writing projects, some course development that have been there and like, oh, and then what happens? getting pulled off by a family emergency. Do you have to take care of your family? Absolutely. Do you have to take care of everything for your family? Probably not, right? Lessons to be learned on both sides of this. Um, let's say, or some piece of work that took on a whole new way of life. And so you just kind of push these other things that you wanted to work on to the side. It happens every single day, all day long. And to the point where maybe we don't even come back to it, or we see it and we keep it on that list. It's like, well, yeah, well, someday would be nice, but it's probably not going to happen. Now we're sabotaging our own dreams. Like there's not even someone out there doing it for us. We're doing it for ourselves, right? Um, and so when it comes to all that effort, this is one of those things that really I had to really deal with, because I am fantastic at solving other people's problems. I do a damn good job. Y'all, I can handle a crisis in a hot minute. I can work through all the things that need to be done. Even if it's not a crisis, it's like, oh, have you done this? XYZ, blah, blah, blah. Did they ask? No. Was there some presumption on some cases? Probably yes. And learning that just because you know how to solve the problem doesn't mean it's your problem to solve. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me. I don't know about you. I'm talking about me. And that is a tough thing to come to the realization of, because here's the thing. When I realized how much energy I was putting into solving problems, closing the loop on other people's things for them, people, organizations, whatever, a whole host of things, right? That meant I didn't have the energy or the capacity to close my own loops, to finish the things on my own projects that I care about. And then there would be resentment about that. And so I'm doing these things that I say, oh, I care about and I want to do for them, but I'm doing it with resentment because my stuff is sitting here undone, unfinished. And guess what? Ain't nobody trying to help me finish those. No one's trying to help finish my loops while I'm trying to finish closing other people's loops. That is the moment of realization of like, but if I don't do some of this for myself, guess what? No one's going to do it for me. Really. And not because, oh, there's so many things there. Not because maybe someone doesn't want to. I think really because a lot of times for people like me, people say, oh, she doesn't need the help. She's great. She's got it covered. She helping do all this other stuff. She don't need help with her stuff. And when you're not putting that out there, that maybe you would like a little help, or maybe the help is just support, right? Whatever it might be, then kind of get enclosed and you're like, what is really going on here? This is this has a lot. Like this has all the things I'd like to talk about rolled up in one. There are leadership issues here, there are advocacy, self-advocacy issues here, there are relationship issues here, there are self-care issues here. All of it wrapped up and tied with a bow because you don't close the loop on your own stuff. Sometimes being a good leader means leading yourself first. Sometimes being a great advocate means being an advocate for yourself first. Sometimes maintaining connections and having good relationships means building a great relationship with yourself first. Sometimes having taking good care of others means that you have to take care of yourself first. This is not what I think. This is what I know and learned the hard way. burnt out a few times behind it. And the realizations of it, there's grief behind it, right? Where you're like, I can't believe I let myself do that all that time. Well, then now you're just beating yourself up. So, like, quit that. Quit that. Recognize it, acknowledge it, and you're like, yeah, but here's where I am today. Like, where we present day. And sometimes it's as quick as snipping, a quick snip. Yeah, I'm not. If someone asks you, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not available for that. Oh, yes, thank you so much for considering me, but I'm not going to be able to commit to that. Oh, it's been wonderful serving with your organization. It is time for me to move on. Y'all, those are the ones for me. The amount of energy that I was giving, and I'm a huge community advocate, volunteer, been doing it for decades. No one can challenge me on this, right? Like, don't even come for me when I say I recognize where I was giving so much of my good stuff, my good energy, my ideas, all of that to other people, other organizations. It wasn't going into my own self, my own businesses, my own goals. And someone was like, well, it looks like you were doing a lot. Imagine how much more could have been done if I wasn't feeding other people's goals before mine. Oh, yeah. So I am way more mindful of that these days. Do I slip? Absolutely. Especially when it comes to family, right? Family or close friends. And it's like, oh, because that urge, like it's at the core of who I've been for so many years. So it doesn't just go away because the light bulb goes off one day, right? That's a habit that has to be undone, that has to be shifted. And how does that happen? Sometimes it's as simple as, promise you this, I do this virtually every day, where I'm like, oh, I need to go read this thing that someone sent me, or I need to answer this email. And I was like, yeah, but you also need to do your own video, or you need to do this little piece of this project for yourself. And it's reorienting those things. Not that I'm not going to get those other things done, but now I'm going to do the things for me first and the other things second. And that simple step flip things on their head. Absolutely. Absolutely. Even today, I was feeling a little under the weather, and I was like, oh, but I've got to rewrite this forward for this book. I've got to go review those grants for this organization. Hmm. Yes. And there are timelines to all of those things. Yes. And I'm going to go do this work for myself first, and then I'll get to those, because I know I'm going to get those things done. But if I do those things first, what I needed to get done for myself may not happen, because it's way easier to push things off for ourselves than for other people. So what if we start changing the expectations that we have for ourselves? What if we start being our own client? Stick with me here. What if we start being our own client and act like we're the person who is asking for the help? How would you treat that person? What would you move forward? How would you address those things? That is that is a very powerful shift, an extremely powerful shift. And so I'm going to encourage you to think about that today. Handy dandy notebook and a pen, get your your journal, write it out, talk it over with an accountability partner, whatever it needs to be. These are the things I advise my clients on all the time, is like, get it out of your head, get it on paper, and think about what would it look like to make that shift in real time, to focus on closing the loop for yourself first rather for other people. How powerful could that be? Just for one thing, just for one thing. Not all the things, right? You got to build up, exercise that muscle, strengthen it. Choose one thing today. that you're going to close the loop on for yourself, that you're going to prioritize for yourself over for other people. And I would love to hear all about it. So hit me up in the comments, send me a little DM, let me know what that looks like. And if you're somebody who's like needing some help working through all that, we can have a conversation about that because that's literally what I do, right? You don't have to do it alone. And if you're getting really serious about something, let's say it's a lot of times it's a career transition, a life transition, and you really need support to make that happen, hey, I'm here for it. But the first step is you have to decide that you're ready to close some loops for yourself first, and then let's get that ball rolling. Okay? Take care. See you in the next video.